Welcome back to this Let's Play of the Last Remnant. Last time we did a last of the side quest. Well, technically this is the last side quest. This is the side quest that you complete when you complete all the other side quests. And, you know, she babbles on about fate and destiny and all that good stuff, and gives you 1,000,000 gold and Dream's Edge. Dream's Edge is what changes the last boss into its sort of level 8 form. Now, why you'd want to make the game harder? Well, you know, why not? The game's too easy otherwise. Well, I don't know about too easy, but I've really ground up quite a bit, maybe even more than technically I should have. But now that we have that 1,000,000 gold, and only one real big expense left in the future, let's go spend the money. And we can customize the Night Bloom to Artis for about half of the money, and the other half of the money, more or less, I guess we came out ahead by 200,000, to make Night Bloom Virtutus, which, well, let's just say it's got a lot of attack and mystic power, but not very good defense. Now that we have that, let's go take on one of the enemies that's actually going to be interesting and not a total pushover. To do this, you need one of the eyes from one of the guild tasks, and it's here on the southwestern road. And I don't know if I actually have that eye already. Let me check. Looks like we do. That particular one, to spawn this guy, you have to kill a bunch of Glagonos, which are imp monsters. I killed a bunch of them in Darkened Forest. Actually components, and you have to hand in the quest at, or the guild task at sort of 3 realms. I don't know what rank it requires. I generally get to sort of 3 realms rank 5 long before it becomes a question, because sort of 3 realms rank 5 is Mystic Seal formation. But this little beast we're about to fight gives us the second. There's really a third useful formation that I'm sort of glossing over, but it's a mystic formation. I don't really care that much about it. But you can see it over there. It looks kind of like the Fallen and kind of like Demigod, and well, it's more like the Fallen than like Demigod.
Okay, later.
I'll explain in a second once I get my party set up, but before I do that, I'm going to get a little closer to it. So I'm going to set up my party and be right back. Like the Fallen, one of the big pieces of tactics against this guy is to have Cachexia. I have actually 2 unions capable of casting it with very little available in their orders to do, so they will most likely use it. The difference between the Lost and the Fallen is that for the Lost you get all of 5 turns. The Lost Remnant, this is the full name. This is more or less an all-out dash to the finish line. And unfortunately we only got Cachexia on 1 unit, which is really bad. In many ways he isn't as hard, because, well, he doesn't do as much dangerous things, but you just don't have a whole lot of time to kill him. So this is where that grinding is going to be more useful. Oh, thank you, Max. He actually reassessed into casting Cachexia. Hasn't done it at this point. Yeah, hey, I'll take it. And for the most part, I want to avoid doing any healing whatsoever. Just because we need to do damage. He does end of round craziness if you don't Cachexia him. But he doesn't really do much of this. I mean, he's got this typical apocalypse thing. He's got the whole hand of God. Unfortunately, I may have to pull those 2 unions out to heal next time. I was hoping to do what he did last time. Use Cachexia. But oh well. Forgot the Cyclone damage. We have at least one Cachexia hitting, so that's all we really need. So I'll have Rush's Talisman's Gift instead. I guess I'll have to have those guys. I really don't want to have those guys falling out of the Union to do that, but don't mind. Since Irina is the leader, she doesn't necessarily give access to the things I'm looking for. Unfortunately, Talisman's Gift is the defensive one. I was hoping that, but he's already flashing. If you don't have him low by this point, he will use, I think it's Spring of Life or something, instead of Miracle, and he'll be back to full health, and then you have to kill him in 2 minutes. And that's not fun. But more or less with Cachexia in place, it's just a question of just pounding him as fast as possible, because he doesn't do that much physical. All that dangerous offense. Other than at the end of the 5th turn, he wins. And I'm not seeing any weapons, so it's really not making me happy. We got him. I guess we got a turn to spare. Yeah, maybe we're all over, but so much for the loss.
I know I'm good.
There's still plenty of power left in these old bones.
And we actually got both of his drops, neither of which I really care about. The main thing you get for defeating the Lost, however, doesn't have anything to do with actually fighting well. He is a guild task, and unlike Demigod, which gives you a useless formation, killing the Lost gives you a useful formation. It's good because it's an ideal formation for a 3-member physical attack unit, and as you might have noticed, I tend to use those. So we can go back to Solid Play and hand this in at sort of 3 realms. You have to pick up the eye at sort of 3 realms, and essentially wherever you pick up the eye is where you need it. Returning of Souls, and we get quite a bit of money from that, as well as the Trident formation, which is going to be one of my primary tools for the rest of the game. I was using Hill and Vale there, but as you can see, the difference between that is about, it essentially increases my attack power by about 10%. What it doesn't show is it also increases your strength, and it also increases the effectiveness of all combat arts. So it's fairly decent. And on the Xbox 360 version, you can actually get some of the better formation bonuses with only 3-member unions. PC version, more or less, you need to have a 5-member party to get full advantage of any of the... so you can unlock the 3 variants of any of the formations that really matter. Where is it? Anyway, I'll reset my formations and be right back. The Eldritch Dragon was the first of these events, and, well, it wasn't too hard. And I guess the Lost, well, I was well prepared for it, let's just put it that way. The next stop on our tour of big things to kill is in the Aqueducts, but we don't have time for it in this episode, so we'll see you next time when we go fight Gates. No, not Bill Gates!